Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Izzo by Antonio podcast. My name is Mike, and today we're going to look at the next two games for the Michigan State Spartans. And we're going to start tonight against Rutgers. Rutgers is a team. Michigan State went on the road earlier this year and beat by 10 points. Rutgers, they played a little scrappy in that game. Michigan State found a way to win on the road. That's all you can do in college basketball is find a way to get wins on the road. But you know what? This game. What am I looking for? Looking for a bounce back. Okay, and in Tom Izzo, knowing Tom Izzo, he's gonna get on his guys for how they showed in Sunday's loss. I think he's gonna get on them, and they're gonna be ready for this game. Okay, and you know what? They need to take care of business tonight. All right, they can't look ahead. Even if they do look ahead, I think they'll win because Rutgers right now is not the best team at all right now. When you listen to the players they have, Corey Sanders, you got to get him. He's averaging 14 points a game. Geo Baker, a guy who hurt Michigan State in the first matchup, he's getting 11 points and 4 assists a game. But when you look at Rutgers, they do struggle to shoot the basketball at times, and they did struggle to shoot the basketball in the first matchup against Michigan State earlier this year. So good defense. Okay, they're not going to be making hard shots. All right. So, if they get over 60 in this game, I'd be surprised if they get over 60 in this game. I think Michigan State, Rutgers does have some good shot blockers down low. I know that. And some good rebounders. Offensive rebounding really helped them in the first game against Michigan State. I do expect that to be cleaned up tonight. I expect the crowd to be into it. I know this isn't a big game, but they need to be into it. Okay, all right, and the players need that boost. They seem to play a lot better at home than they do on the road. So that's what I'll be looking for in this game. And when you look at Rutgers, you have to be able to get rebounds against Rutgers. Rutgers is a good team. Okay, they're just playing a hard conference. I doubt they'll get into the tournament, but they do have wins against Seton Hall, so maybe if they're lucky. But no, listen, down low, Nick Ward had trouble last game against them, and they doubled him. So I'm going to be looking to see what Nick Ward does in this game. And we'll get to Miles Bridges in a bit and what I want from him. But, my final score prediction, 88, 88 to 53 or something like that. 90 to 60-ish. I expect the defense to be swarming in this game. I expect them to get out to a quick lead and just run away with it. But you know what? You can't take any opponent for granted. And Rutgers, they're not the best team in the Big Ten, all right? And you can't take them for granted. They came in probably last game against Ohio State, weren't ready to play. But I do expect them to win this game pretty decently, handily. So that is what I think about this Rutgers game. All right, so we're also going to preview the U of M game on Saturday. This is a big game a year, you only play them once this year, so this is going to be your defining game of the season unless you play them in either the Big Ten tournament or the NCAA tournament. But this is the game. It's in East Lansing, which makes me feel that they have a good chance to win the game already. Even if they play badly, I think they'll win the game. Is the game going to be close? I don't think so. I think Michigan State is going to take their anger out on the next two opponents they have, and even the next three. Rutgers, I think, is going to go down pretty handily, and I think they're going to be ready for Michigan. I really do. And Michigan's a good team. They're not on Michigan State's level. They don't have the athletes Michigan State has. They don't have the basketball players Michigan State has. Michigan State can match them everywhere they have. And when you go into a really great atmosphere like Michigan State, they're going to make you hard. It's going to be hard to shoot the basketball, and that is what Michigan relies on. Another thing that makes me feel like this game is not going to be very close is Michigan does struggle rebounding. Michigan State is a very good rebounding team. So I do expect Michigan State to out-rebound them very handily. And I want to see the swarming defense I saw against Maryland earlier this year, and hopefully against Rutgers tonight. And if they do that, I think they have a excellent chance to blow out the Wolverines at home and silence everybody that says Michigan is going to win the game. But you look at impact players in Michigan. Charles Matthews, he's a good player. He does struggle to shoot the ball a bit. Mo Wagner. I don't want to hear about Mo Wagner anymore. He's having a not so good year. Um, Abdul Rahman is a good player. He can really hit that jumper from the top of the key. Duncan Robinson, he's a good player. Only thing he can do is shoot threes, and he's kind of struggled with that this year. But you look at the bench that Michigan has. They have a pretty decent bench. Isaiah Livers off the bench. Tuskegee okay. But when you look at Michigan State, who's going to be matching up with these guys? Wagner definitely going to be defended by Jaron Jackson. Jaron Jackson did struggle with Keita Bates-Diop, but Keita Bates-Diop is one of the best players in the Big Ten. Wagner's having a bad year. I expect Jaron Jackson to eat up Mo Wagner. Abdul Rahman's a good defender. Whoever he gets, if he gets Langford or Winston, or maybe even Bridges possibly, could shut them down. But I expect them to get on Abdul Rahman quickly and not let him get to his spot and make shots. Jordan Poole's a pretty good player as well for Michigan. But you just look at the Michigan roster; it's a complete mismatch. Everybody that Michigan State has is better than Michigan has. If Michigan State was starting their bench, their starting five from the bench, it'd be a close game. But I don't want to look over Michigan. Michigan's a good team. They got some shooters. They got some big shot makers. And this is without Mo Wagner right now. And they almost beat Purdue at home. And if this game was in Ann Arbor, I would have maybe think differently. But I really do think that Izzo is going to have his kids ready. Really ready. He's going to work them out. He is going to work their tails off this week, getting them ready to play both Rutgers and Michigan. And I think they'll be ready to go. I think you'll see the swarming defense you saw earlier in the season against North Carolina, Notre Dame, and Maryland. And I don't think you'll see the kind of defense you saw against Ohio State. I think it'll be different. I expect this to be 20-point blowout, 30-point blowout. I'll give them like an 80 to 60 win. Sounds about right. Michigan's defense isn't very good, and Michigan State's offense is elite. That's what I expect from them in this game. Michigan State's defense is elite. Michigan's offense is pretty good. I expect Michigan State to handle their business on Saturday. And now let's go ahead and move on. Let's go ahead and move on to a subject I'm really passionate about. Miles Bridges this year. Boy, I'm glad he came back because he is a very good player. But I do want to see him take games over more. And it started against Ohio State. Now he was 1 for 9 to start from the field. He's having a bad game. Good players. What do they? They want the ball in their hands, take the ball to the basket, get fouled, shoot free throws. Miles Bridges, all right, he's averaging 16.9 points a game, the same points a game he averaged last year. But he has less minutes this year than he has last year. But here's the thing I want to see from him. I want to see Miles Bridges take games over. Okay, enough with deferring to other guys. Miles Bridges is one of the best players in the Big Ten, if not the best. I want to see him take over games. Okay? When everybody's missing shots, I want to see him with the ball making plays. Okay? I want to see a little bit of dog in Miles Bridges, okay, that we haven't seen, because championship teams always have that player that has it, that has leadership skills, and Bridges is still learning about being a leader. And Tum Tum is a really good leader off the bench, but for that starting five, is it Cassius Winston? Maybe. Miles Bridges needs to be out here, and he needs to be the alpha male on this offense right now because he is the best player on their team. He needs to take over games. And you see great teams. They always have that one player that puts them over the top. Last year Joe Barry was probably one of those guys. Other teams have the player, Kemba Walker with UConn. Right now, it has to be Miles Bridges. Miles Bridges needs to take over games. And enough with settling for step back jump shots. I want to see him getting to the rim. He can get to the rim at will. Okay, and his free throw shooting has very much improved this season. That is what I want to see from Miles Bridges this year. Okay, all right. This is his team. Hey, Jaren Jackson's a great player. Jaren Jackson is a great compliment to Miles Bridges. I want to see Miles Bridges get it going. Put up 30 a game. Don't be afraid. You saw what Keita Bates-Diop did the other day against Michigan State. It was the Keita Bates-Diop show. I want it to be the Miles Bridges show. And I love how we share the basketball. But when you're down in a game late in the tournament, you need somebody to get you out of a tough stretch. Who is that going to be? Right now, it's nobody. And it has to start with Miles Bridges. Okay? Right now, he might not even be the best Bridges in the country. Michael Bridges from Villanova is really in that conversation. So I want to see him take over games because he is a top 5 player in the country right now. And he's a top 2 player in the Big Ten. So I want to see him take over games. Enough with the deferring to other teammates, enough with the step back threes. I want to see him driving to the basket. And I'm sure Izzo is telling him this, and Izzo understands what it takes to win because he's won it before. So Bridges really needs to take control of this team. And this, Tom Izzo understands that this is probably the most talented team he's ever had. There's a possibility that this is probably the most talented team he's ever going to have. And if he doesn't win with this team, doesn't win the national championship with this team, it's going to be harder for him to win with other teams. This is the team to do it. Okay, that is what I feel about Miles Bridges. All right, that is going to be it for today's podcast. I'll be doing another podcast later today on MSU football and 2018-19 season. So thank you everybody for watching, and we will see you later.